Howdy, YouTubers. I've been getting a lot of questions about buildings, structures, and how I kit bash those. And I put a poll recently on my community page, and building structures was one of the things that was most requested. So I'll do this over a series of video posts, but today I want to talk about the Walthers Magic Pan Bakery. And it's a pretty common structure. A lot of you probably have it. Or have seen it on other YouTube videos or other layouts. This is what it looks like, or what the model is intended to look like, but it's like all Walthers kits, very customizable. So it's a great kit, but it also leaves you with a lot of extra bits that you can use for other structures and detailing other structures. So if you've watched my channel, you've seen how I have the building set up. It's quite a bit different than what the instructions have you do. So I kit bashed it to fit the space. And this is a 20-inch deep switching layout, shelf layout. So this building is not as deep as the kit is originally spec'd to be. I cut it so that it looks like it's going into the backdrop there. And there's also images of the building stuck to the wall there, so it appears like it continues on. And I did that. The reason I did that is because I have a mirror under the bridge, and actually you can see the building in the mirror. So it appears as if this structure is just continuing on. So to finish up that effect, I put images of the wall on the wall there of the building itself. So on my layout, it's Bombaci Foods, and that's really in honor of my dad. And I built it so that there are 3 spots for cars, and I've numbered them. I really number them just so while I'm operating, or if somebody else is here operating and they're not familiar with the layout. And I've got 1, 2, and 3. So 1 are the silos, obviously, and these take in flour, they take in salt, so bulk product, dry product. And number 2 is boxcar goods. So this might be packaging, bottles, raw material for making packaging. So the plant produces food products for restaurants and grocery stores. And spot number 3 takes in liquid. Specifically, it takes in corn syrup and takes in vegetable oil. And there's 3 valves there. One is steam outlet to liquefy things like corn syrup. And then there are 2 inlets, one for vegetable oil, one for corn syrup. And I used, I took, these are from the Walthers piping kit, these valves. There's some signage there. And the hoses, I just used this bead tubing that's at Michael's. And I put ends on it from the piping kit. I've had some comments about the scale of the hose, and his hose is being too big and blah, blah, blah. I mean, to me, it looks great. Sometimes things in the backdrop, if things are a little big, it's fine because the viewer's eye catches it and notices it. So it looks good in my opinion. I've got some pallets I have to paint. And then here for loading up these silos, I've got the same kind of hosing. It's laying across these pipes. These pipes are what take in the flour and the sugar, or salt. It's salt because the sugar would be the corn syrup. So, and then I've got some bits that I'm putting here to detail for power transformer and the power panel, and then some gas valves. I'll get those painted on there. You'll see some basic weathering. I get some pigment powder between the bricks and some black pigment running down the front. Nothing over weathered. I like on my layout to have a combination. Some things are pretty grungy, but not everything in the world is completely old and filthy. So some slight rust on the tops of the towers, or whatever you want to call it, just runoff from weather. The kit, if you've built this, you know, is the structure itself is easy. It's this piece here that takes an incredible amount of patience, because these pieces are very small and very delicate, and once it's together, you can't really move it. So I have this kind of modular, and I did that for serviceability, and I do this with my buildings as much as I can, because inevitably you're gonna have to take it apart at some point. So rather than gluing the whole thing together and gluing it down to the base, I keep it modular. I keep it loose. Roof details are from a couple of pieces came with the kit, but most of them come from the Walthers roofing detail kit. And I like to have quite a bit on there. So since, for example, this is where the steam is generated to liquefy corn syrup, you assume that there's quite a bit going on here. There's a blower, there's a chimney, presumably for some sort of a gas-fired furnace to produce heat. There's a vent here. This office building has a couple things, like a toilet vent and a small vent, and multiple different roof features on the other bits of the building. And then even the picture that's on the wall there under the bridge, I put a couple of roof details. So as far as painting, I didn't paint the building itself. What I did paint were, of course, the pipes, the stairs, the railings, the trim on the roof, and the door, and the whatever you call this rubber thing around the door, and the roof details, and the window frames and the doors. This little overhang I made from part of a Pike Stuff kit. So just a little overhang that protects these valves. So let's talk about the modules. So this one comes out, and do this carefully. Behind it, there's a foam pole. In my prior videos, I talked about that. That's because I'm running the wires back along from the print shop behind the building. It'll appear that they're going behind this building, and then they come back out, and they're gonna connect onto the pole that buries the lines under the bridge. So there's this one module, and you can see the level of detail involved in building these silos. It takes quite a bit of time. And I had it all built, and I realized I had a couple of these were turned in the wrong orientation, so I had to pull it all out after putting the glue, so that was fun. But you take your time, and it comes out okay. I made the sign on a printer, as you can tell, but I think it looks good. It's an industrial facility. And you know, when you're kitbashing, of course, that door is butted up against this wall, so you don't really have to do anything to it. It's hidden. This module here, I had to do something a little different here, so that the pieces all kind of fit together. I put a plastic panel. Then there's some scratches on that wall from moving things around, but what I'll probably do is just put some paint and make it look like there's patches on the brick. It's the nice thing about this hobby is a mistake can be turned into more realism. So that's just a sheet of styrene, and the back is blank because it's against the wall. And I put a roof detail and some sides. And the reason I did that, I put a little notch to receive this styrene wall, and there's a piece of plastic at the bottom just to keep it stable. And the reason I did it is so that everything fits together. So when I'm working on things and I need to put this back, I know exactly where it needs to be. So it has to lock into that little channel there. Come on, you. All right. And then I've got the space I need to drop in this module here in the middle. Okay, so that's, and this module has the receiving doors, receiving bays for the trucks, because I wanted that visible. The shelf layout, I don't have a lot of space for roads, but I wanted to have at least some visibility of what's going on with the trucks. And presumably there's other loading bays in different parts of the building. And then this, let's see, this is one module. Yeah, this is one module. The one on the end here. Picking this up is risky, but for my viewers, I don't think I've really picked it up since I put it in there. So yeah, I don't, like y'all, I don't detail anything that's hidden. There's no point. I just paint the bottom. This sidewalk here is actually just a piece of cardboard packaging, or like cardstock packaging that I got off of Peco turnout. And I just cut it and painted it to look like it's concrete. So you can see here the door number 3 for the liquid. Just added those valves there. The backside is blank. There's really nothing going on because it sits up against the wall. But I did put this gray brace here, which kept the roof from warping. And you'll find when you don't use the back wall, the thin roof will tend to sag. So you have to, it's good to do that, to put a piece of reinforcing plastic. So that's that. Be careful how I put it in, because I like to make sure that, see, and you can see how that notch I showed you tells me exactly where I need to put things. Okay, so that's in place. I like to keep the edges not visible, so the detailing, in this case ballast and dirt, goes right up to the wall. So when I put it in, I gotta have to tip it and then put it in. Fits together like a puzzle. This is not done yet. The telephone pole, or the power utility pole, that's gonna be anchored and wired. Which, another example of why it's good to have these things modular and not permanently mounted, because there's always something you're gonna need to do behind it or around it. So then that fits in there. Just tuck it up against there. That's in place. So there you have it. So it's a much longer facility than the way it's spec'd in the instructions, but I'm able to do that because it's against the wall and I'm not using the full depth. So it gives me a lot of extra parts. So that's, honestly, this is probably my favorite structure. And there's more I'm going to do with it. There's more detailing, fine detailing. But for now, it serves its purpose. Put these trucks back. So I like to keep one trailer there and one that has a cab on it. And I'm in the process of putting this chain link fence around it with a gate. So that'll make it look better. So here we have vegetable oil. Let's not run the guy over. So that, and it could be placed really anywhere from the bumper up to about here, because those hoses will reach the car. And then the box car sits in spot 2. It doesn't hit, it's just because I swung the car. So I like to give it enough distance where the cars are separated. And then this one, really, I like to keep it kind of in the front of the towers or silos, because again the hoses reach out, and I'll have the gates probably somewhere around here, so I'm gonna have to move that derailleur out. All my sidings have a derailleur. So that's how they look when the cars are placed. And when I switch, what I'll typically do is first cut. I've got 2 cuts of 5 cars here in the receiving yard, and one cut actually will swap out that vegetable oil for corn syrup. so they toggle between the two as they need it. And the corn syrup car is smaller lengthwise. That's it there, actually, cargo. And that's a cargo corn syrup. It came with, I think that's a Walthers. It came with plastic wheels and those plastic McHenry couplers. So I put KDs and metal wheels. Probably could do with a little bit more weight, but it definitely is a good performer. So one op session would swap that out for corn syrup. Another op session then takes these two cars. So presumably the box car is empty, so it's unloaded its supplies. So this is all bringing things into the food plant. And it also takes an empty, let's say it's flour this time. And then what that op session would replace these with is a full box car with new supplies, packaging materials, as well as a full hopper. And it toggles between flour and salt. And these are pressure aid hoppers, so the stuff just gets sucked up into these silos. So on one op session, I'll swap out the tank car, and then another op session, I'll swap out these two. This one being empty, this one being empty, and then I replace them both with full cars. And all of, probably like the prototype, all of the merchandise, once it's produced, packaged, and ready to go, leaves and gets distributed via tractor trailer. So rail cars are just bringing in the raw materials in large quantity, and then the finished goods go out by truck. So that is Bombaci Foods. The siding for it uses a number, actually it's a number 8 peco. It's the only number 8 that I have on the layout. And I did that because I wanted a nice slow sweep. And I've got a long lead in front of it, which is handy because I use that for placing cars as I'm switching. So I'll show an image here of what it was looking like while I was building it. I don't have too many others that I could find because while I was building it was just so time consuming. I just didn't think of having the video. There probably was a lot of cursing in the video too, so it's just as well that I don't have it. But that's what you can do with the Magic Pan Bakery. I've seen a lot of really cool iterations of this building. It's probably one of their better kits, I think. So that's what I've done with it. And in the future, I'll talk more about the other facilities that are on the layout. But for now, I just wanted to focus on this one. I've had a few questions about how I built it. So if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and leave them. And as always, like and subscribe. Thanks.